Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and every single thing in between. I'm your host, Sybil Amuti.
And I'm excited as usual to bring to you this week's episode.
So jump right into this week's episode. And after you do, head over to iTunes and leave us an amazing review. That's how other great girlfriends know the quality of the content that we provide each week. Enjoy. All right, we're in Great Girlfriends. Ooh, I feel like we need this big old woo-saw, right, Sheri and Nancy?
Whoa.
Yes.
Woo.
I feel like I want to welcome everyone this week to the Cheers Bar. This is a place where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. This is going to be one of my favorite Great Girlfriend conversations in history because I'm diving in with two iconic women who are so special in so many ways, who, I don't think we had a barrier. We met and you offered love and I offered love and we received love and we decided that we would love on each other. We made that an intention. And I think that delivery is what has made you great girlfriends. So I really want you to get up out of your seats, stop on the treadmill, pull your car over and clap it up, throw a pound in the air for Sheri Salata and Nancy Hala.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, we're so
Hi,
glad
everybody.
to be here.
Yes,
I'm
indeed.
so glad to have you. You know what? I always tell the great girlfriends that I have the most amazing women in the world, like at my fingertips. And I feel so honored because I get to have conversations and ask curious questions to women who have gone before me and who have done so much in their lives and inspire me. So you two being here means so much because your friendship is everything. The work that you do is everything. And just the torch you carry is everything. So thank you.
You are so welcome.
Absolutely.
Back at ya.
Yes.
They are very Googleable great girlfriends. So you can look up Sheri Salata and you get all the scoop on who she is and her life story. You can look up Nancy Hala and you get all the scoop on her life story and everything she's done. Sheri was longtime producer and president at Harpo Studios. So she was one of the anchors, and I consider you the force behind the Oprah Winfrey Show. And Sheri is a global brand not Sheri. I've already talked about you, Sheri. Nancy is a global brand strategist, and you've worked with some amazing brands around the world. And she is newly fiancéed. And
I never heard fiancé used as a verb. I like it.
I just created that.
I'm fiancéed.
Was that good? She's newly fiancéed, and she is living her best life with her new bae in Washington.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're the founders of The Pillar Life, the Sheri and Nancy Show and The Pillar Life, which is one of my favorite go-to podcasts. So thank you so much, great girlfriends, for being here.
Yay.
We love it.
Yes. So we talked about this in our private combo, and we decided that this was an essential combo. I'm talking to two white women in America who are beloved by so many, who share so much love for women across racial lines. And they're talking to a Black great girlfriend who's in the South right now, who equally loves women across race lines and has a respect for women regardless of religion and diverse perspectives. And we're sitting in the most opportune yet complex moment in our culture where race is the headline, right? And prejudice and injustice and division. Those are big headlines for us right now. And we just felt like it was pivotal to come together and really kind of decode race and friendship and dive into what makes it a thing. Why is it even a thing? Do we have to?
Oh, I love that.
Does it have to be a thing?
Decode. Does it? Does it have to be a thing? Well, of course, the three of us don't think so, but we understand. I mean, one of the things that's been happening the last several weeks is Nancy and I have been having conversations with our listeners, and you joined us for one of those where even if you think you've done well, you haven't done enough as a white person in America. Mm-hmm. So that position right there kind of informs the potential for a real relationship and a friendship. That's what we're discovering.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that I've considered myself a non-racist person my entire life, but what's been happening in the last few weeks has brought that new level of awareness to me. What Sheri just said, and another word for that is just complacency. right? I have not done enough. And I think that that's a really strong and important message for white people everywhere. It doesn't matter how nice you are and how good a person you are and how you view people equally. It's what you've done. What you actually have done to contribute to racial justice. And, the truth is the vast majority of white people haven't done enough.
Mm-hmm. I've been hearing that a lot from all of my friends and women and even men across the board who perceive themselves as allies and really supporters in what we'd like to see as a new America, right? Because there is an opportunity for a new America. And I think that anyone who can see that now is somewhat of a visionary. We're
right.
We're hopeful about what that turn will look, but it's going to start with us relating and really building bridges that we've probably never crossed or maybe have not taken the opportunity to cross. And, for us, Great Girlfriends, the longstanding or the foundational pillar for us is friendship and peer-to-peer relationship. How do we begin to see each other in ways that will allow us to connect beyond racial borders? And I saw a study, it was a Pew study, it was from 2015, but the data is still valuable. It talks about it's multiracial in America. And the research indicated that 62% of single race whites say they have a lot in common with people in the US who are white, while about only 1 in 10 or fewer say they have a lot in common with people who are Black, Asian, or American Indian. And the pattern was the same for adults who were single race, Black or Asian. So we see what we see, we like what we like, and we go for what's comfortable. But there's a big amount of opportunity in that uncomfortable space, right? Where we have to imagine what's beyond color.
Yeah.
I know. And it's even changed, Sybil, since when we had this conversation privately, you, me, and Nancy. We were kind of talking about, and it was a while ago, we were talking about with you and Brandis, as a matter of fact, kind of off mic, about the difficulty. Why isn't it easier? Why don't white women and Black women welcome the opportunity for real friendship with one another? What are the barriers to that? Which I think is a very bold and brave conversation. But now it's, now I can give a lot of answers to that now in a way that I couldn't 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Nance?
Yeah. You know what I think is super interesting, just exactly what the two of you both said, and this is kind of a different way into that conversation, is I think that we often, when we see ourselves and other people, we gravitate toward those people. I mean, I can tell you, Sheri, that so you and I have been friends for 30 years. And one of my favorite things about you is that I feel I see myself in you. You know what I mean? Like I relate to you. I listen to you talk, and I can hear the words in my own head even before you say them sometimes, right? Because we've just established this dialogue for over so many years. Well, the truth is, Sybil, I see myself. I mean, it just even on the basis of the little bit that I know you, and I think that people have to look beyond. And this is cliche, of course, and it's an easier thing to say than to do. But when you look beyond skin color, or you look beyond any kind of cultural differences, you do see yourself in other people. We're all part of the same race, right? We're all part of the human race. But it's that you got to see beyond to find out those commonalities and find out, what you have in common, what the ways you think, the ways you speak, the ways that you view the world. There's so many similarities, I'm sure, but you have to intentionally and deliberately look for them, I think.
It's so funny you say that, because I think that in America, we've trained ourselves to see race and perceive things immediately on sight. And because of that, it has created so much distance between us, meaning I see you, I assume a certain thing about your life. Instead of getting curious about your differences, I assume your differences to be something that I may know nothing about. And consequently, when it comes time for us to have conversations, most of the time, when I've seen these conversations take place at Great Girlfriends conferences, et cetera, people find themselves shocked by the parallels, because we've perceived that, honestly, I'll say this, we've perceived that white women have had it easy. Okay. that your dinner was on the table at 5, that you've had more opportunities than everyone else, that you've never been let down, that you've never faced true rejection, that you've never been judged for your hair or your skin color or the size of your lips or the size of your body. So we perceive things really quickly, and that prejudgment, that early perception creates an immediate displacement. I automatically feel that you are in a category aside from my own. And at that point, it takes so much more work for me to connect with the human that you are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And these are truths.
I have actually felt that. Mm-hmm. I think I've told you this, that, and Nancy, I shared this with you. So I was doing, when I could travel, I was doing lots of book events, and I went into one event where I was specially invited, and it was 100% Black people. And, and I walked, and I was like, what am I sensing? Because, I walked in, hi, everybody, because I was mingling before I was going to give my talk. And I'm like, what am I feeling right now? There was a reserve toward me. It wasn't unfriendly. It wasn't unkind. It was reserved. Mm-hmm. Hello. It was reserved. Nice to meet you. All very polite, but there was a reserve. Mm-hmm. Once the lid was off the pot that I had worked for Oprah for 20 years, all of a sudden the reserve was gone. And there was camaraderie and fun and lots of sharing and lots of storytelling. And that is not the first time I've experienced that. And in a way, like, I understand it. It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's like you get us or something, but it greased the way in a sense.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I mean, there's sort of this thing that where we need a safe space, right? And we need a person to sort of guide us into new territories, because when I go in a room and I have to speak to a brand and the room is 95% white and, majority female or male, there's so much dog and pony show going on. There's so much I have to do and say to prove that I'm welcome or that I belong. And if someone in the room doesn't show up as an ally, I'm alone. And I have to decide if I care. If I want to, do I care? Do I want to spend the 10 minutes to dismantle that thing, or do I want to, walk out with my outcome? But those are the things that I go through when I walk in, and to hear that you go through the same thing means that we've not effectively set safe space for one another, where the invitation means that you're welcome, regardless of the color or the perceptions that we carry in the room.
And don't you guys think that white women and Black women should be natural allies? Because being a woman, you're already marginalized, in business and in many, many, many cultures, mm-hmm. right? So, I mean, as a woman who used to pitch big brands, and there were mostly guys around the table, I have felt that, like, okay, I got to be super charming right now. I got to really be on my game. And you just, it feels, your stress level goes up a little bit, because there's that feeling of otherness. Mm-hmm. And that feeling of you got to prove yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that all women everywhere have experienced that in some way, shape, or form in many different, areas of life. And so whenever I hear and when I realize and know that there is this sort of unspoken barrier or tension between white women and Black women, I want to be like, oh, I feel like we should just be natural allies, because we've both been through some stuff, right? Like, it would be nice for us to be able to support each other.
Mm-hmm. It would be so ideal.
It would be so good.
Perfect world scenario.
And also too, like, there's in addition to this, that kind of tactical thing, there is an energy that we share as women. Mm-hmm. A divine feminine calling for nurturing and caring and about more than just achievement and power, and there's something else going on that we share as women, that it mm-hmm. feels like the ability to tap into that mm-hmm. and just from an energetic standpoint could help build that bridge that you're talking about.
Oh, I love that you mm-hmm. said that, Sheri. I love that you brought that up. There is a divine feminine energy. I think that's so important. And we we talk about that a lot, I think, on our show in some way. And it's, it's part of one of our pillars, the spirituality and happiness pillar. But it's yes, I mean, that is, there's something so uniquely great about being female. I think. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most women can tap into that nurturing space, mm-hmm. that supporting, loving, nurturing goddess space. And that's where we can connect.
Mm. So I want to ask this question, and I want to offer an answer as well. I feel like I want to offer this as a bridge for anyone who's listening and going, well, what do white women want in their friendships? What do Black women want in their friendships? What are some of the things that we are missing it on? Meaning, if it's so simple, if it's as kumbaya as we can make it, how can we help other women create those paradise moments where they can have and tap into that divine calling and experience that sort of bliss that I feel very free to be Sybil with you two. I feel like you can ask me anything, I can tell you anything. I feel like vice versa. I feel like I don't have to dress it up or down. And so for me as a Black woman in friendship with anyone, and I think specifically though, I want to tailor this to if I'm creating friendships across racial lines, I want to feel as visible as I think you are in culture. So my expectation in friendship is that you'll help see me. I see me.
Yeah.
Culture doesn't see me. I want you to see me, and I want you to admire me in a way that I admire me, in the way that you're admired, mm-hmm. right? So, we want to feel vulnerable. We want to feel as feminine and as flowy and fluttery as a flower. We don't always have the spaces to do that because we have to show up so strong at work, so strong with our family, so strong everywhere we go. And we just want to, drop the top on the convertible in our friendships, let our hair down, let it frizz up, let it go fro, let it go straight, whatever our choice. And know that we're protected and that we're seen and that we're adored. We want to feel like we're the object of your affection, just like, the world perceives you as an object of affection and those kind of things. And, you see it amongst Black women. Black women are constantly, adjusting each other's crown and making sure that the next woman knows how beautiful and amazing she is. And right. That movement is built off the response of things that we haven't always seen in relationship. So that's what I think we would like to see and experience. And I know Black women are going to email like crazy, like, wait, add this, take this off, tailor that. I'm open to all of that, but I want to start it. So what would you like to see in friendship?
I think you said something really, really interesting when you were on our podcast, Sybil, when we were talking about what does solid allyship look like? And you said, hold our hands. Mm-hmm. And I think that really is the essence of amazing friendship. Mm-hmm. Hold my hand, clap your hands when things go well, hold my hand when I'm struggling. Mm-hmm. And that kind of is it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I the word that comes into my mind is celebrate. That's what I feel from my best female friends is that celebratory bond, right? Like they celebrate my life, mm-hmm. and they're there when things fall apart, but they're not just there to wring their hands and be sad with me. They're there to lift me up. They're there to remind me of all the other parts of my life that are celebrations. And when you were just describing your friendship, Sybil, you said, to be admired and adored. And I think that is absolutely unseen. Those are the things that I want in all my relationships, but mm-hmm. they're the things that show up very visibly for me in real, true female friendships. Mm-hmm. And again, it comes back, I think, to that female energy, right? Women are just really good at celebrating their friends and the people that they love. They're just really good at making everybody feel like they're in a big warm embrace. Mm-hmm. And like what I would want is that ability to get close to new friends, right? So if I were going to make new friends in the Black community, I would want the ability to really, I know right now, like we have to all socially distance, but I just love, hugging people and holding them close and having them at my table and having them sitting in a chair next to me and talking for hours. I want there to feel like real closeness.
Mm-hmm.
Sybil, what would you say? And this would be the same thing you'd have been saying a couple months ago. What is the barrier to that bridge? Is it a lack of curiosity about another culture, another point of view? Like, what is it? What is it that is separating us from our impulse to do what Nancy's saying, to engage, hold hands, hold each other close? What is that?
You use such a powerful word in curiosity. I think we've lost the curiosity. I think we know. The assumption that we know and that we don't need to ask questions anymore, that the things that children desire to know about one another has been lost on us. I think that is a big part of what has kept us separate. I also think that, I'll say on one side of culture, on many women will say in the Black community that white women will say one thing in the front and do another thing in the back. And if that were true, if there were different, we'd see it in the statistics around opportunities at jobs and the roles that people play in the workplace. And so they're front-facing allies, front-facing, we love you, we see you as equal. On the back end, there's a lot of neglect and a lot of rejection. And then there's also historically, there's that trophy mindset where white women have been perceived as higher or better. And so Black women have been we've been almost pitted against one another. That if we don't have your version of beauty, our beauty has been secondary. So there's that inferiority that has been placed on Black women. Like, wait, we do actually like our version of beauty, but media tries to tell us that we're disqualified. And so I think sometimes when people feel that they are inferior or that they've even been considered inferior, they have to blame it on someone or pass the accountability over. And if white men won't take it, white women are going to have to pick it up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This definitely is a white women thing. That it's one of the things that we've been talking about over these last several weeks is, you had asked on our show, Sybil, somebody's got to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. And so who makes the moves? It's got to be the people who have been raised who live in a society where that's been the privilege. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean your life is perfect. It just means that you were privileged.
Yeah.
Privileged in this society. So you are then you must take on the mantle of starting to, getting out your welder and starting to build that bridge and making those first moves.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. It's kind of powerful because, you'll see the thing that has been sort of regarded and admired about Black women is the strength and our ability to sort of do it for ourselves, to really figure things out in tough situations. And most of that has come off of us building an internal allyship and a community that says, hey, if no one else is going to celebrate or recognize, we'll do it ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, isn't the world stronger when we can all make that choice for one another to say, you know what, if she doesn't have that representation, I'll help be that for her. And yes. and that's the hand holding that we're talking about, where if Sheri and Nancy aren't welcome in a room, I'm going to make sure they're welcome. I'm inviting them in a room. If Sybil's not welcome in the room, I got her. I'm going to make sure that if there are two people welcoming her, it's going to be us. That hand holding, those are the bridges that we have to introduce. And then, there's also, I think the friendship part of it comes with also aspirations of what do you desire, right? Because, I think we have all connected on a human level. We desire to see humanity move in a certain way. And because of that, we speak a language that is bigger than race. Not that race isn't a part of the language, but it's about how humans evolve, how humans embrace. And for that reason, I think it's interesting when we have to locate the parallels. So for us, we found that common ground. A lot of women have opportunity in that space. You have to look for common ground instead of dividing ground, right? So if I don't see any common ground with you, There's so much there. I know for a fact we as women do. I know for a fact that we as women have way more in common than you and I may have as Black and white women. But you and I as women, we share so much more.
You know what's strange to me? I can't, I'm listening to you talk. I'm listening to this whole conversation, and I just feel like, why haven't I heard this conversation before? Like, why aren't white women and Black women talking to each other more about this? You know what I mean? I mean, it feels so novel that we're having this conversation right now. Like, oh, interesting. But this is absolutely the conversation that should be happening all over the place, I think, because you're exactly right. There's actually so much, there's so much commonality. There's so much common ground. You just have to find it or create it. Right. But it's like in this day that we live in now, where I think people are more enlightened than ever before. I see a lot of that. We have people on our show all the time. You have people on your show all the time, Sybil, talking about these themes, talking about how to be better, how to be kinder, how to be more compassionate, how to live the life of your dreams, how to lift yourself up and each other up. And it feels like this level of enlightenment, I would imagine most people are seeking. And building bridges is one way to be a better human. I mean, connecting with others on a heart soul level is one way to have a better life. And I feel like this conversation between women of all colors, of all races, should be happening more and more. And I think it's strange that it doesn't.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I think people have forgotten that we need to attend to this, like the intention behind it. It's not just going to fall from the sky. Great girlfriends, if you thought it was going to fall from the sky, I don't know what sky you're under. It's just not the way it works.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Sybil, let me add this. There's also, I was just thinking about, how some of my greatest friendships have formed. It's been a little magical conjuring sort chemistry. And for women in the middle of life, that chemistry is also about familiarity. We're familiar. Oh, I see you. You see me. Chemistry. And in this kind of bridge building, it hasn't happened the way the three of us would wish it would. So I think that's. I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying, Sybil, is it has to be more than chemistry. You have to intentionally say, I'm going to bring these female relationships into my life and make them an integral part of my friendship scheme, my friendship complement. It can't, we just can't tra-la-la down the road anymore, just hoping we run into people that we have chemistry with.
That's right. And there's going to be work. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy. That curiosity is going to be challenging things that have not been challenged in the past and asking questions that may create complex conversation, but it doesn't mean walk away. It means press through so we can really get understanding. That's really going to be an opportunity for all of us. Yeah. If you had an ask of Black women, what would that be? As two white women in this America. this very unique in this America.
Yeah.
What would be your ask of Black women?
I can't even imagine an answer coming out of my mouth on that.
I can't either.
Like ask of Black women, I feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get off this recording right now because I've got some work to do.
I know. I feel like I want to be giving, not asking. That's what I would say. I want to be giving, not asking right now. You know what? Yeah, I am 100% here for the giving.
Yeah,
and love it.
And opening up as many doors in my life and lives around me as possible that I can.
Like in every conversation that I'm having professionally, it starts with, what are we doing about this? In any kind of consulting situation, we're changed.
Yeah.
We're changed. I have nothing to ask of Black women other than give me a chance.
That's right.
That's good.
That's right.
Yep. That is so good. I think we would ask the same thing.
Give me a chance. And I think it behooves all of us to kind of, and I'm also talking to myself, to dial down the judging a little bit about how people are moving forward in this. You know, it's like I have a little chuckle to myself when I see white women on social schooling everybody about what they should be saying, posting, doing. It's like, please, ma'am, tend to your own garden. How are you sorting that out in your own garden?
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody has a different approach, you know, this is going to be a symphony, not a one note song. It's going to be a symphony where there's different instruments playing different parts and contributing in different ways and offering themselves differently. And, you know, we're just at our first rehearsal where all our instruments are out of tune and nobody knows, you know what I mean? We're just beginning to start that. So that's the one thing I say is that, and I say it to myself, don't be judging how everybody else is doing. Just keep your eyes on your own paper a little bit here.
That is so good.
But I do feel changed too. I mean, I feel like everybody is changed. And so everyone's trying to come, you know, to say what they can say and do what they can do in their own way. But the bigger story, the bigger headline there is that change has happened. Yeah. And it's continuing to happen. And it's going to be a long, long road. We all know that. But, you know, humans don't change unless there's some kind of conflict, some kind of pressure point, some kind of thing. And this has been it. I think that there is a widespread energy of change right now in this country and around the world. And I think I applaud that 100%. And we're all going to find our way. But right now, the big headline is change. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
That is the big headline. And I hope that, you know, great girlfriends, I really truly hope that you and we can all see that we are, you know, we're the change we want to see. I hate to just throw Gandhi in there, but we truly are. You know, it can only stay a headline if we continue to propel forward movement, right? So if we carry the torch for change, then there will be change. I think that even when people talk about systemic issues, you know, the system is there's not a big motherboard of a machine. These are humans who are part of systemic issues. So these same humans will also be and support systemic change. It's going to require us to all really want to do and see and undo things that have just divided us for so long.
That's right. And you know, in the end, you know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, have you changed? That will become clear.
Yeah.
You know, are you willing to, you know, create a different world? That will become clear. You know, are you willing to, on a grassroots level, you know, require something different from yourself? That will become clear. So, you know, I think maybe the as Nancy was talking about a couple of weeks ago, this is an inside job. It's internal work, and then move outward. And then, and at the same time, you're moving outward, you know, on the big issues, the voting, the local voting, the taking responsibility for your, you know, to help change the culture, but also that human level that you're talking about, like who can I get curious about? And who can I open my heart to?
That big word, curiosity, because that leads you to ask questions. It leads you to eat foods. It leads you to read books, you know, watch documentaries. It leads you to explore your relationships and your culture and your community and your country differently, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? That's just all pure positive good. You know, when you are exploring and you're learning and you're opening your eyes to anything, but especially to racial injustice, it's just, there's no way that you can't be changed on a cellular level once you start really educating yourself and immersing yourself in this topic. And that is just pure good. You're going to be better because of it, just on the inside, and then hopefully way more proactive on the outside.
So true. And then that number that we talked about in the Pew study changes drastically. Then more people will say they have a lot more in common because they've located their ground. They found the foundation in humanity that is so much bigger than, you know, what we see in our skin. Yeah. I love that. I'm here for it. I'm so ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. This is our legacy, girlfriends. This is what we are leaving for the others to pick up and carry forward.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And it's a beautiful legacy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to be a part of this change and to have the opportunity to really make a huge course correction is that's a life worth living.
Yep.
Oh my God, it is so true. It's so true. I love it. I love it. So my last question, what do you think has been a superpower in all of your great girl friendships?
Oh,
What's been the superpower of it all?
well, I can say that for me, the superpower behind and infused on every level of my great girl friendships has been this notion of seeing each other, right? Of being really known. And that just feels good. It feels, I don't think any of us are meant to be, by ourselves. And no matter how many relationships you have in your life, married or not married, children, no children, it doesn't matter. Surrounded by family, not surrounded by family. There's something really special and beautiful about a true girl friendship, because it's like you're just seen on every level, and that is so comforting, and it's like the solidest rock in the world, right? It's just like this big, beautiful foundational rock in your life. And I mean, I feel like I have been surrounded by great girlfriends at all stages in my life, right? From when I was a young girl to teenager, 20 years old, different stages. And sometimes people move in and out of your life. That's true. But those stages in my life, when I look back over my personal history, they are the markers in those stages are the girlfriends in my life. Like I remember what it was like to be at college because I remember the three women that I hung out with in college. I remember what high school was like because I remembered my little girl gang. It's like those women were my reflecting pool, right? Like that's how I saw myself. That's how I understood the world. And I think that without that, that feeling of being seen and that feeling of seeing, it would be a lonely road, I think, without girlfriends.
I love that. Visibility is everything. Reflecting pool. I'm like over here trying to jot.
It's a reflecting pool.
Oh, the two of you. Okay. Sheri, what would you say has been your superpower in all your...
Oh, Nancy, that was so beautiful.
I know.
Nancy has always been a big advocate for her girl friendships. Then that has been a huge thing for her. I would say for me, that quality is it comes under like an overarching principle of loyalty, but underneath that, like the subhead is I got you, and that is what I value most. That is what I require, and that is what I give.
That's so good. Which explains why you're able to have the years you've had together.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think that I've had anything happen in the last 30 years that I didn't tell Sheri about immediately. It's just like, it's like having a witness in your life. I think that's it. That's what I mean too. When I'm saying,
God, that's amazing.
Somebody is witnessing. She's my witness, this is happening,
I'll remember
that happened. Yeah. And it's wonderful. It's like you're writing the story of your life with a co-creator, right? Yeah. You've got somebody next to you, somebody witnessing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That is my favorite.
I love that.
That is the gem of the answer to that question. That's what a great girlfriend is a witness.
Oh, that is so powerful.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm gonna cry, but I'm not going to, but I'm getting tears in my eyes because that is just the truth. Yeah. That is the truth.
Oh my goodness. You know what? On that note, my hope and expectation for every great girlfriend listening is that they have the best witnesses, that they get to witness, but that they also have the best witnesses life has to offer for their story and their legacy, because that, Sheri and Nancy, is powerful.
Oh, that's big. That's big. It's not flowery. It's not goopy. It's just really solid. It is, and we all need to be witnessed.
I love that. Well, I want to thank you for being witnesses today. For all that you
Thank
share,
you.
all that you contribute. These conversations, this pool of conversation is not an easy one to dip into. It's a very soft and sensitive skin and open wound for Black people in culture as we heal, as we grieve, etc. But I, again, feel like it's a responsibility for those of us who want to create bridges and continue to work for humanity to push through some of the pain and to create this sort of solvent of space where we can witness, because that's an essential part of life for me. So thank you so very much for doing this.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Thank you, Sybil. Thank you for asking us. And thanks everybody for listening. I can feel your hearts even as we record.
Yes.
Me too. This has been a fantastic chat, Sybil. Thank you so much. I loved it.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so super grateful.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great_GFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends, keep listening, and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.